Well, we're back in Santa Fe, and I'm going to be working on these Matilija Poppies here. They are a beautiful flower. The blossoms are probably, they're large. They're 6 to 8 inches across. They have a big yellow pom-pom in the center. And we discovered these flowers, first of all, when we were driving through California. We were driving to go to San Diego, and we were crossing the mountains around near Lake Elsinore. And we came across a hillside that was just covered with these beautiful white poppies. Oh, they were just waving in the breeze, and they were just magnificent. I'd never seen them before, and Jack, stop, please. And we did. We took lots of pictures and later found out that what they were called. Just a gorgeous flower. And I've tried to grow them here in Texas, and they just don't like the soil around here, I'm not sure. But in California, they just grow wild, and they're absolutely beautiful. But with the white blossoms and the white petals and then that large yellow pom-pom, they look like fried eggs, and people, a lot of people call them fried egg flowers. So anyway, I am blocking in the blossoms, and I first do the shadow colors of the white blossoms. I'm using mixtures of, this is dioxazine purple plus white. I use ultramarine blue plus white and phthalo blue plus white. And these are for the shadow part of the flowers. Just gives some nice, pretty colors in there. I'm going to break out over the door or over the gate. The sunlight's coming in from the upper right, so these on this side will be in shadow. Let's see, I'll have one, just a little blossom pop out here. I just kind of get a lot of color up there, and it doesn't matter if some of the colors mix together. It's just adds interest, adds liveliness into the shadows. I'll come back and add the lights into these. I'll block in my flowers first. Now I'll come back. I think I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush. And the foliage is kind of a gray-green, and I mix this with my phthalo blue plus cadmium orange and white. And I've mixed several shades, just different combinations of those colors. I've got some mixes with more orange that makes them warmer, and I've got some mixes that have a little more of the phthalo blue, which makes those a little bit cooler. It just gives variation within the foliage. If you'll study when you're out and about and near some flowers and plants and bushes, if you'll look at them, the leaves are not all the same color. I mean, there's variations within that, and that's what makes it fun to paint. Now I'm using a mixture of, this is phthalo blue plus liquid. This gives me some coolness in the depth of the shadows. I'll just put a little bit here and there on the base of the plant. Come in here. The leaves break out over the floor. And I let some of the darks be back in here because you can see those shadows underneath the bush. I keep wiping my brush. And if you've watched my videos very often, you've heard me say this a lot, but this is very important. The secret to really pretty, clean, crisp colors on your painting is to have a clean brush. If you start mixing the colors together, they just eventually get pretty dirty. And that's why I block in my flowers first and the leaves last. Because that way, if I were going to try to block in these white flowers around that green, I would pick up so much of that green in my brush that my flowers would no longer be white. So I do the whites first and then I do the darks. Clean out my brush because I want to make this a little bit larger, this area here, this flower there, before I get my leaves blocked in. So, and this is again a bright brush, but you can see it has a square head, and it's very easy then to use the corner of that brush to make smaller brush strokes, and I can work around the flower color. See, I can use this larger brush to make some smaller brush strokes. Mixing a little bit of my white and cadmium orange into one of my leaf mixtures just to make a little lighter and warmer leaf. And I let this get pretty textured. When these paintings are dry, I would love for somebody, if they were blind, to be able to come up and just feel the texture of the flowers. I like there to be a lot of texture. And this is actually some of a phthalo blue plus white mixture that I used on my little gate. I save my colors. That way if I need to go back in and correct an area or whatever, I don't have to worry about mixing and trying to match. I have the color right there, and I just put the colors out on the left side of my palette, and they remain workable for 3 or 4 days. Plenty of time for me to finish painting, and if I need them, if I need to keep them longer, I just put them in a plastic cup. Let's see if I can show you. Like I say, my little yogurt cans, and I can put that paint, say I want to save this purple, I can put that paint, just put it against the side of the cup in there, and then put water over it so the water's over the paint. I can put that in the refrigerator, and it will last a couple of weeks in the refrigerator. It'll still be usable. Maybe a little thicker, but it's definitely usable. Let me get a little white here. Add some highlights on these flowers. As you can see, I can come in with my brush now and start adding the white. Where the sun's hitting these blossoms. I can just use the corner of that brush to make those big crepe papery petals. My color that's there is my shadow. You can see how this one's just going to get a little light there. And then a little light here. And now I'm going to add the centers with a smaller brush. Now this is some of my yellow left over from my chair. And actually some of the reds left over from my or cadmium red light left over from my petunias. This one's behind, so I'm going to make it a little redder. This gets our centers in there. And then I'm taking some pure cadmium yellow medium, and these in the light, I come back and add a lighter highlight. Now I'll still have to do a little bit more work on these, but this is initially basically how they're blocked in. So thank you for watching me paint these Matilija Poppies today. If you get an opportunity, go online and Google them. Look at the images. They're really beautiful. It's spelled M-A-T-I, Matilija, M-A-T-I-L-I-J-A, Matilija Poppies. So, thank you again. You have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. And just as you're out and about, go out, stop and smell the roses. Just enjoy the fresh breeze. Look at the flowers. Look at the sunlight just dancing across the tops of the trees. Enjoy this beautiful world that God's given us. So you have a delightful day, and thank you again for visiting my studio. Please visit my blog. The link is in the description below. The address is on the final frame, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thanks again.